Okie dokie. Let's have a look. Are we live? I think we are. Right, there we go. We're live. Let's have a little chat. Let's have a little chat. What is up, William Jones? How you doing? You're the first guy in the chat. What's up, JT? How you doing? I don't think this will be a long stream. We'll see how we get on. I've got to be off about 11:30, I'd say. But yeah, I'll try and go through a few topics. What is up, ABC? Heavyweight fight fan, how you doing? What's up, Callum? What's up, William? Yep, William, we're here. We're here. Yeah, Tyson Fury fanboys. Yep, they're going to be out in force. I'm just really sorry. I'm really disappointed in that news. Now, the reason I'm disappointed, I actually don't think either guy are ducking. I think the fight will happen. I just believe both guys are milking their newfound popularity, and they're taking a fight in the interim, and they're going to make us wait for it. That's why I'm disappointed. I want to see the fight next. You know, I don't want to see Wilder fight a cab driver in Alabama. I don't want to see Fury take a showcase fight on ESPN. Just make the fight next. Get the rematch on. It's really disappointing, especially after all of the talk in recent months of how easy it is to work with each other. You know, how both guys want to fight the best. You know, if two fighters want to fight, the fight will happen. And here we are, months later, the rematch isn't happening. I'm just a bit annoyed with it, to be quite honest. But it is what it is, you know. Am I going to watch UFC 235? To be honest with you, I'm a super casual MMA fan. And when I say super casual, like I'll watch McGregor, I'll watch John Jones, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Who's fighting on 235? Is it Jones? I don't even know. I don't even know. Yeah, Crawford versus Khan. I think that's pay-per-view in the United States. But in the UK, that's not going to be on Sky, apparently. Maybe BT will pick it up, or Box Nation. William Jones, yeah. Fury's next opponent, Pulevel Parker. That's what I would expect, somebody like that. I think Parker would actually be a decent opponent, all things considered. But, it's not the fight we want to see, is it? Yeah, Jones is fighting that Smith guy, isn't he? Anthony Smith. Yeah, AOBS. Rematch is off. Disappointing. I think I pissed a few people off with that reaction to it. I was just really disappointed, to be honest. You know, I really expected them two guys to sit down and get the fight on, but it's not happening. Yeah, apparently Sky, ABC, apparently Sky didn't want to put it on pay-per-view because it was late at night. If they put it on pay-per-view, they would have needed to match it with a really strong UK card as well, so you get two for the price of one. But, you know, they couldn't get that April pay-per-view card done in the UK, so apparently they didn't want the Khan fight. I'd imagine it'll go on BT. Or maybe Box Nation, because yeah, Box Nation show top rank fights, don't they? So it'll be on one of those two TV channels. And this weekend we've got some fights. We have Luis Ortiz is coming back. He's fighting Christian Hamer. That's an okay fight. Christian Hamer is better than Ortiz's last couple of opponents. I think that's okay. It's a good measuring stick for Ortiz to see what he has left. And we've got Erislandy Lara. He's fighting Castano. That's a good fight. The latest on Adonis Stevenson. He's out of hospital from what I saw. And I think he's at home again. In a bad way still, but he's making improvements, which is good. What do I think White will do if Wilder fights Brazil? Good question. Maybe White could fight Tyson Fury. I mean, Tyson Fury said that if Tyson Fury were to beat Wilder in that rematch, he'd fight White next. Maybe he would go straight to White. I'd like to see Fury versus White. I think that'd be a good fight. It would be a good build-up anyway. Over under 7 rounds on Ortiz versus Hammer. I'm not sure what the odds are. Over under 10.5 against Lara Castano. I need to check the odds. I don't think Lara's getting stopped or Castano, to be honest. Yeah, I agree, ABC. Yeah, I saw that Levi Khan, Edna Cherry. He had to pull out. Yeah, that's not a good look. I'm sure it must have been due to him making weight, maybe. Cutting down. It may have been that, and that's bad when that sort of thing happens. Do you know what, Guilty Simpson? I've still not watched that fight between Yildirim and Dirrell. Still not seen it. Yeah, but he did get lucky against Lelenga Mock. And Lelenga Mock was 46 years old as well. Yildirim is not that great. And, the fact that Anthony Dirrell struggled with him, kind of tells you all you need to know. Who next for Joe Joyce? I really want to see him fight Sergey Kuzmin. I would love that fight. It would be a rematch of their amateur fight, which Kuzmin won. It's got some history to it. I'd watch that fight. It'd be a really good fight. Kuzmin is actually fighting relatively soon. He's fighting on the Joe Smith Jr. Dimitri Bivol undercard. I think Kuzmin is fighting Joey Deweko. Oh, Benavidez beats Jalen Love. What's up, Craig? How you doing? Levi Khan. I'm picking David Price, but I think Cash Ali has a chance. If Cash Ali is ambitious, durable, and can sort of go past a few rounds, he's got a chance. Cash Ali, he's got a decent overhand right. If he can connect on Price's chin, he can definitely cause an upset. But I am still picking David Price, though. I think he's just more experienced. Cash Ali's been fighting at a low level. Cash Ali's best win to date is probably Sokolovsky, the journeyman. Pernell Whitaker versus Manny Pacquiao at lightweight. I'd go with Whitaker. I think Whitaker head to head at lightweight would be a tough ask for anybody. I think he was brilliant, but I wasn't around during that time. But I do go back and watch a few fights now and again. And Whitaker, defensively, he was excellent. He had tremendous reflexes, but offensively as well, Whitaker was really good. It wasn't like he was a pure defensive fighter. He actually attacked as well. I think Whitaker may have edged it. Is Dave Allen still back in March? I think he's fighting in April against Lucas Brown. I think Kuzmin will stop him again. Joe Joyce, yeah, maybe. Maybe. Yeah, I think they're good signings, ABC Def. Bivol, Kuzmin, and Gyasov. Lucas Brown versus Kamil Sokolovsky. Well, obviously, I think we all expect Lucas Brown to win, but for a tune-up fight, that is very risky because Kamil Sokolovsky, he's not like your average journeyman who comes to lose. He actually comes to fight. He comes to win, and it's just a risk. Anything could happen. Worst case scenario, Sokolovsky causes an upset, and even if that doesn't happen, maybe he cuts Lucas Brown, and Lucas Brown can't then fight David Allen. Anything could happen. I think it's really risky. Craig Bowler, where does this all leave Dillian Whyte? I was mentioning it earlier. I mean, maybe Dillian Whyte could fight Tyson Fury. Maybe Dillian could fight Luis Ortiz, Povetkin. There's fights out there for him. It's whether he wants to risk those high rankings. Yeah, totally agree, ABC Def. It's a risky fight. MB, this next gen show on Friday is terrible. Is that the Peterborough show? That's kind of near me. I could go to that, but I agree. I'm not going to watch that. Jordan Gill, he's fighting a Mexican dude, isn't he? I don't mind the Richard Riakporhe versus Tommy McCarthy fight. I think that's a decent fight. But apart from that, there's not much on it. Shakram Gyasov is. I'm not sure whether he's with Matchroom or just has a co-promotional deal. I'm not sure, but I'm sure they have some sort of ties. What is next for Nick Webb? I'd say retirement, unless he wants to be like a journeyman. But to be a journeyman, you've got to be durable. You've got to tighten up defensively. I mean, Nick Webb can't go rounds against guys above a certain level. He just can't. He's got a bad gas tank. He's got a bad chin. He's got a poor defense. I mean, I don't think the future for Nick Webb is that great. Yeah, I agree, ABC Def. I respect Kamil Sokolovsky. He's a journeyman who I'm sure has, a job outside of boxing, but he always goes in there in great shape. He always comes to fight. And on the flip side, we have actual contenders who can't get in shape. But here's Kamil Sokolovsky, actually getting in shape, trying hard. I respect him a lot as well. What's up, Wills? How you doing? Yeah, I like that fight, JT. Dillian Whyte versus Luis Ortiz. FA Ajagba versus Amir Mansour. I'm picking Ajagba. I think Mansour has seen better days, but I do think it's a good step up. I think it's a solid fight for Ajagba to take. It will be interesting to see what would happen if Mansour lands on the chin. We've not seen Ajagba take a big punch yet, so we could have a few questions asked in that fight, but I think Ajagba should beat him decisively. Amir Mansour got destroyed against Filip Hrgovic recently, so yeah. Yeah, I like all three guys, MB. I think Ulusanov, his power might be his undoing. I've seen Mohamed Rabai in the amateurs, but I've not seen him as a pro yet. So yeah, I need to check him out. Don Hearn, Bakole versus Marius Wack. How do you think it will go? First and foremost, I think it's a good fight, and it's a risky fight for Bakole to come back to because, if Bakole tries to blast him out of there in a few rounds and he can't, then, down the stretch is going to be very tough. Marius Wack is very durable. He's a tough guy and, he's got decent power himself. So I think the key in that fight is for Bakole to pace himself, box behind that jab. He's the younger man. He's a lot fresher. Just box behind the jab, keep it simple, and try and grind out a points win. I don't think Bakole should open up a lot. He shouldn't open up a lot in that fight. Sorry. Yeah, Bakole versus Wack. That's all confirmed. And yeah, I like it. I think it's a good fight. But a risky comeback fight, in my opinion. John 99, Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis. I'd pick Taylor. I think he's fought better competition. I think he's slightly more proven. But Prograis is a good fighter. I've been relatively impressed from what I've seen. He can punch hard, decent hand speed, a good aggression, decent on the inside. You know, he's a good fighter. But yeah, I would lean towards Josh Taylor. Mike Hunter versus Alexander Usyk rematch at heavyweight next. I'd watch it. I'd watch it, but I would expect a similar result. Bacoli's going to get robbed or some shit. Maybe stopped. Who knows? Never liked Marius Wackfo. Marius Wack's a funny one. I don't really, I don't really follow him at all. But he's a tough guy. He's got a great chin. He won't come to lie down. Opinion on Tommy Fury. I've not really seen enough. I wasn't that impressed with his first fight, but I think it would be harsh to judge him on that. We'll see how he progresses in his first sort of 10 fights, and we'll go from there. But yeah, MB, I agree. I saw him in the Olympics as well, and I was fairly impressed. But yeah, as a pro, I've not seen him. Where does Arthur Spilka go from here, and what's his next move? I think Spilka, he recently fought. Did he recently fight Wack? Was it Wack? I think he beat Marius Wack recently. Maybe a fight with Izu Agono in Poland. I think that would make sense. Do you think Yafai can beat Nietes because they are trying to make it for the AJ card? I say he has no chance. That's from ABC. Yeah, I would make Nietes a big favourite. I actually felt Nietes lost to Ioka recently, but I still think Nietes will have way too much for Kal Yafai. And I felt Kal Yafai lost on that Monaco card, by the way. Yeah, I saw that, MB. Rungvisai versus Estrada 2. Great fight. Tremendous fight. Hang on, I lost where I was. Where was I? Okay, yeah, MB. Where does he go pound for pound if he wins? Top 5? Top 6, maybe? I mean, he would be on some run. Gonzalez twice, Estrada twice. That's very impressive. Very impressive. What's up, Lewis? How you doing? Rosado or Selecki in Philly in 2 weeks? Oh, Selecki hands down. I think Selecki will outpoint him to a lopsided. Yeah, it'll be lopsided. I think Selecki wins that fight relatively easily. Too many people are sleeping on Relique. He got unlucky against Burns and got robbed by Rancis Barthélemy. He can beat Prograis, but he's obviously not the favourite. I kind of agree. I felt Relique beat Burns. I felt Relique beats Barthélemy, and he will give Prograis a tough fight. I think on paper, it's Prograis' toughest opponent so far. No doubt about it. Yeah, no, ABC, it's one of those fights. I mean, Nietes, I felt he was like the better, more technical boxer, but I felt Ioka, he was doing a good job of applying pressure. And yeah, I felt he just about edged it, but really close fight. What do you think of Eubank Charlo? I think it's one of the best fights in boxing you've made. That's from AOBS. I like the fight. I mean, Eubank, he's going to be involved in fun fights. And if you put him in there with a guy like Charlo, who's a good puncher, you're going to get fireworks. I think Eubank would give Charlo a tough fight. I do. Especially given how Charlo looked in his last fight. I wasn't impressed with Charlo last time out personally. Canelo versus Eubank. Heard somewhere that Canelo would like that fight. Or Callum Smith in the UK. Yeah, I could see that happening. Eubank does have name value, and it's a winnable fight. People over here would get excited about Canelo in the UK. It would definitely sell. I can see why he wants that fight. It does make a lot of sense from a business perspective. What's your thoughts on Matchroom having 4 cards on a Friday night in the US? They've had one already, and their shocking Italy show. Carroll versus Farmer, and now Ring Versailles versus Estrada again on the Friday. It's weird. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Friday night boxing, to be quite honest. But they've got a lot of dates to fulfill, so maybe it's just that. I don't know. Or maybe, obviously, it's on DAZN, new platform. Maybe they don't want to go against any other shows on a Saturday, so that's why they're putting these cards on a Friday. Maybe the viewing figures have been poor. I don't know. Tevin versus Carroll. We think an upset, or does Farmer win a UD? I think Farmer should win relatively comfortably, to be honest. I don't really rate Carroll that highly. I think he's good at domestic level, but I felt he lost his last fight against Frenoir. I felt he was very fortunate to get a draw in that fight, in my opinion. Yeah, I like the fight MB Eubank versus Charlo. I think it's good. Yeah, I agree, ABC. For the most part, Charlo has been a good watch. He knocks people out. Good jab. Strong guy. Yeah, I agree, ABC. Canelo would beat up Junior. Too many holes defensively. Boxing brains. Who next for Joe Joyce? Why not Travis Kaufman or somebody like that? Who do the PBC have at heavyweight? Tava. Just kidding. Travis Kaufman. I mean, it's not a terrible fight for Joe Joyce. Kaufman can survive. He can spoil. But I think Joyce would run through him. I would like to see. I would actually like to see Joyce fight Charles Martin. To be honest, I think that'd be funny. Be a good fight. I'd watch it. Aobs, Charlo needs a new trainer to win that rematch with Korobov. Maybe. I think it was just an off night at the office, to be honest. I think it's one of those fights. I've never seen him fight boxing brains. That is it Augustian or something like that? He's from Heishi. And yeah, I've never seen him fight. Or Haiti, whatever you call it. Joyce Kaunaki, who wins? Oh, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think Kaunaki, they've got a similar style, actually. I think Kaunaki hits harder. He's more proven. But Joe Joyce is bigger. I don't know. That's a tough fight to call. I think I might lean towards Joyce, but I wouldn't be confident. Kubrat Pulev versus Bogdan Dinu headlining on ESPN. Is it headlining? Jesus Christ, that is a joke. That's poor. That's really poor, that is. So Canelo wants light heavyweights, but in my opinion, all of the champions will probably beat him except Kovalev because of him being past his prime and his punch resistance doesn't seem to be there anymore. Yeah, I mean, Canelo, if he moves to light heavyweight, it would be a big ask. But if he did that and won titles, I would give him all of the respect in the world. I'm not the biggest fan of Canelo, but, if he did that, I would give him all of the credit in the world. Providing he wasn't like draining people. But yeah, if he went up to light heavyweight and beat a Kovalev, that would be tremendous, in my opinion. Copen says Friday night boxing is the norm in the USA. It's not weird at all. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that is true, actually. It certainly happens more over there than here. Yeah, ABC, Frenoir, I felt he won. And yeah, AA Boxing and Blunts. Yeah, I think Friday makes it a good. It makes it good for subscriptions. Yeah, I think it's good for that sort of thing as well. Yeah, Lewis, I agree. Pulev versus Hellenius, it would have been a lot better because at least Hellenius can punch. You know, you've got that. You know, you've got that intrigue there. Who's Fury fighting in between the Wilder rematch? Asks Levi Khan. I think probably someone like Joseph Parker or Pulev himself, maybe. Boxing brains. Fury's fighting Areola. Can you imagine? Jesus. AA Boxing and Blunts, Delboy, who's your favourite UK prospect, or your top UK prospect, I should say? I've got to be honest. I'm not super excited about anybody in particular, but I do like Joshua Buatsi. I know he's not proven anything yet, but I like certain things about his style. You know, I like how I like his shot selection, good power, good timing, and very calm. Doesn't rush his work. When he has somebody hurt, I like the fact he doesn't smother himself like some prospects do. Buatsi kind of reminds me of more of an Eastern European fighter, actually. You know, technically very sound in how he delivers his punches. You know, he just does the basics very well, in my opinion. I do like Buatsi. I think he'll go a long way. Um, you've got Lee McGregor as well from your part of the woods. He won the Commonwealth in what, his fourth or fifth fight. He's quite impressive. Who else is out there? Um, there's not too many guys out there that I'm really excited about from the UK. I'll be honest. I'm not that sold on Josh Kelly. I'm not sold on Joe Cordina. I'm not sold on Lawrence Okoli. I'm not sold on Anthony Fowler. I'm not saying these guys won't be good fighters. I'm just not that sure on them. That's all. What's up, Shepherd of Sons? How you doing? Charles Bigod Martin will physically shoot Joe Joyce in the ring. Fury versus Vianello. Yeah, that's the young Italian prospect with Top Rank. I'd imagine they would push Vianello quite soon. I think they'll rush him, to be honest. Yeah, I like Charles Martin, AA. He's the type of fighter. If you wanted to take a fighter on like a night out, Charles Martin would be up there. You know, he'd be a fun to party with. Charles Martin. Levi Khan, Augustian will upset Areola. I think so. I think he's shot to bits, to be honest. Yeah, I've seen Alexander Teslenko. I think he's a very interesting prospect. You know, for a guy who's 6'5", he's got a fluid style. You know, nice quick feet, fairly quick hands, good jab, good right hand, decent power, decent timing. He reminds me of a smaller Vladimir Klitschko in a way. He has that kind of style. And I mean like the Klitschko before he went safety first. Yeah, that's the only thing, Shepherd of Sons. Teslenko, he's not the biggest and he doesn't carry the most weight. I think he's, what, 220 or something like that? And he looks he looks lean, doesn't he? He doesn't look bulky or big or strong. John 99, do you think Khan can give Crawford problems and possibly win? I see Khan winning the early rounds, and Crawford may start to time Khan more as the fight goes on, and I see Crawford stopping him. That's pretty much how I see it, to be quite honest. I think Khan, if he's at his best, he will give Crawford a few problems early on, much like Thomas Delorme did, much like Yuriorkis Gamboa did. But once Crawford finds his range, once he starts recognizing the patterns in Khan's attack, he'll then start countering, he'll then start chopping Khan down, and he'll get the knockout. Khan is a guy who, he kind of fights in patterns. He does the same thing over and over and over again. And Crawford will recognise that. And I think by the mid rounds, he's going to be piecing Khan up and he'll stop him. Oh yeah, Charles Martin versus Gregory Corbin. That's on the Spence undercard. Gregory Corbin's unbeaten, but he's like 38. So how good is he? I don't know. ABC Death, another fantasy fight. Prime Steve Cunningham versus Alexander Usyk. Usyk by decision in ABC's opinion. I agree with that. I think Usyk would outpoint Cunningham. I don't think he would stop Cunningham at cruiserweight. Cunningham had a good chin down at that weight. And, also defensively, he was fairly good as well. Yeah, Levi Khan, I made a video about Lara versus Castano. I didn't actually pick. I just made a preview on it. And I'm leaning towards Lara, but I think it's a very close fight. I think Castano's pressure can give Lara a lot of problems. Lara has struggled with pressure in the past. He was dropped twice by Angulo. And Angulo, to me, is a basic pressure fighter. I felt when Canelo turned up the heat on Lara, Lara looked really uncomfortable. Lara struggled with Jarrett Hurd's pressure. I know that's a different type of pressure. Hurd is massive. But to me, when Lara is made to fight, when Lara is, in those sort of scenarios, he doesn't really excel. And if Castano can put it on Lara, I think he's got a good chance. Castano, from what I've seen, he's a decent pressure fighter. He punches on the front foot. He's got relatively quick hands. He's got good combinations. He works the body. I think Castano has a chance, but I'm leaning towards Lara. I'm sitting on the fence in that one. Oh, I've missed so many comments, I think. I'm well behind. Jesus Christ. I think I might have missed a few comments. Shit. Don Hearn, is Parker meant to be fighting Tyson Fury next? Well, Team Parker have said they'll take that fight. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. Levi Khan, where does Bryant Jennings go from here after that loss to Rivas? I mean, he's getting on now. And I think he will be an opponent now, to be quite honest. I don't think Top Rank will waste their time and try to rebuild him. He needs to go on the road and hopefully get a couple of big wins to rebound. I wouldn't be surprised if Hammer goes for distance with Ortiz. I could see that happening. I mean, Christian Hammer, he's a tough, durable guy. And when he wants to survive, he can survive. As you said, I mean, he did that with Povetkin. MB, I quite like Sonny Edwards. I was impressed with Sonny Edwards against Ryan Farag. I felt that was a really good performance. Poe Johnson, Fury is going to fight Rivas next, in my opinion. Maybe, that could happen. Corey Lee Boxing, what's up, bro? Oscar Rivas versus Andy Ruiz next. That'd be a good fight, I would like to see that. And by the way, Corey Lee's got a channel, so check him out. Ariola versus Stavern rematch. I got Ariola, Stavern is shot. Can you imagine seeing that again? I'd watch it, just out of morbid curiosity, I guess. ABC Death, I don't think Buatsi or any Matchroom prospect will win a world title. I do like Buatsi, I've got to say. I think he's a good prospect. But yeah, the rest of them, the rest of the Matchroom guys, I don't really rate. Anthony Fowler's got a fight coming up soon against Scott Fitzgerald. That'd be interesting, but I think Fowler's going to win that one. Yeah, Cop End likes Sonny Edwards as well. Yeah, Sonny Edwards, in his interviews, he comes across really well, actually. Poe Johnson and Russell Newton ask about Josh Taylor. I presume you mean when I was asked about the prospects. I don't think Josh Taylor's a prospect anymore. I think he's a contender now. Usyk is going to be the best heavyweight in the world by 2020, says Corey Lee Boxing. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. I just think when he steps up to that elite level, I think the guys are going to be too big, to be honest. ABC Def, I fear Okolie will get brutally knocked out when he faces a top fighter. Yeah, possibly. He's very raw. He's very rugged. I could see that happening. I saw a few rumours on Twitter saying that Okolie is going to fight Lebedev next after Camacho. That would be a massive step up. I know Lebedev is past it, but still. Cop End, when are we going to see Prince Patel on British TV again? Oh God. Hopefully soon. I want to see it. I want to see it. I'm a Princeaholic. Let's get him in. Prince. I mean, Patel versus Sonny Edwards. Make it happen. Yeah, I think Bud beats Levi. Sorry, I think Bud beats Amir Khan Levi. Mid-round stoppage. Yeah, I think Poe Johnson. I think Josh Taylor has a lot of potential, a lot of talent. Yeah, Thomas Essomba. He's an underrated fighter. Better than his record indicates. Aobs, not many prospects from Matchroom. Josh Kelly's getting knocked out soon, and so's Okolie. Listen, I'm not sold on Josh Kelly at all. I've heard a few things, and yeah, I think that guy is going to get found out before he gets to world level. I really do. But who knows? I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before, and I'll be wrong many more times. Imagine if a DAZN comes to the UK. I mean, I wouldn't be mad. You know, Sky Sports over here is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, and then pay-per-views on top. Shepherd of Suns, Teslenko said he can make cruiserweight. Looking at his body, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah, Poe Johnson. From what I've seen from DAZN, it's been very average. But, the Estrada versus Rungvisai 2 card, that's something to get excited about. Jacobs versus Canelo, Joshua versus Miller. They're starting to pick up a little bit from an outsider looking in. I don't live in the States, obviously, but from an outsider looking in, it looks like they had a tough start. But, the next few months are better. Marco Rintamaki, he says, hey, what's your guess on Floyd making a comeback against Canelo or Pacquiao? Personally, I don't see it happening. I think Floyd is going to stay, well, he's going to stick with exhibitions, fighting guys who are not boxers, basically, and he'll get easy paydays. And I don't blame him. He's had his career. I don't think he owes us anything. He can do what he wants, in my opinion. Boxing Brains, breaking news, Adam Smith retired, Kelly Maloney is back, they're rebuilding Tom Dallas / David Price. Jesus Christ. Somebody said Tom Dallas would go further than David Price. Tom Dallas had no chin whatsoever. His chin was worse than David Price's. JT, do you think Mikey Garcia, win or lose, will move back down in weight or stay at welterweight? To be honest, I can see him staying at welterweight. Big money fights, moving down could take toll on him again. Sorry, could take toll on his body. Sorry, getting a bit croaky. I think if Mikey loses, he'll come back down. If he wins, he'll stay up at welterweight. If he wins, he'll try and get fights with Pacquiao. He'll try and get fights with Keith Thurman. But if he loses, I think he'll go back down and maybe chase that Lomachenko fight. But yeah, it's dependent on result. That's what I'm saying, Rip on Road. That's my problem with Fury. His fans, they parrot what he says. Fair enough, but they don't hold him to that same standard. And yeah, I'm just bored of the main guys at heavyweight. I'm bored of Joshua. I'm bored of Fury. I'm bored of Wilder. I'm bored of the talk. I just want to see the big fights. To be honest. Oh no, Russell Newton, I agree. Conor Benn, he's not beating Josh Kelly. Conor Benn will get knocked out. Yeah, cop end. By this time, 12 months' time, Patel's going to be mandatory for that belt. Watch. Crazy. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I agree, Lewis. Ring Vasai doesn't get enough attention. And I think he's a lot better than people make out as well. He's a come forward fighter, but he does a lot of things well. He puts himself in positions where on the inside he doesn't actually get hit that much. He's got good punch technique. He's got power. He's got timing on the front foot. He's a really good fighter. He's improved a lot in the last couple of years. NBT Boxing, thank you very much, mate. I really appreciate that. Have you left a message in the in the chat? Thank you very much, MBT. And by the way, MBT has a channel himself. Some of the live streams are a classic. I liked the Anthony Mundine, Jeff Horn live stream. That was brutal, that was, man. Anthony Mundine going out that way. Yeah, Tom Dallas. He is, matchmaker now for Sauerland. Prince Patel's top 15 with the IBF as well. Jesus Christ. Whose performance was worse, DeGale's versus Eubank Jr. or Fielding's versus Canelo? Definitely Fielding versus Canelo. 1000%. I thought I went offline then. Sorry about that. Yeah, definitely Fielding's versus Canelo. The lawn chair, yeah, the Quags. Rocky Fielding, the lawn chair. Jesus Christ. I saw people on Twitter say that Rocky Fielding would beat Chris Eubank Jr. It's crazy. MB says, I wonder who they'll get for the for Quig on that Ring Vasai card. Hopefully someone decent. I'd like to see Jojo Diaz. I think that'd be a good fight. Thank you, MBT. Listening on the drive. Yeah, I do the same. Certain podcasts I have for my long drives. Although I don't drive that far anymore these days, to be honest. But yeah, I like a podcast on my drive. Russell Newton, I feel Spence is too big for Garcia. I like them both, though. Yeah, that's how I see it. I think both. I rate both guys highly. I rate Mikey. I think he's a really good technical boxer, good power. But I think welterweight is a bridge too far. To be quite honest, I really do. I felt Mikey at 140. The signs were there that maybe that's his limit. To me, the power wasn't quite the same against Lipinets. He wasn't quite as effective. He wasn't quite as strong. And going up another weight class after that, I just don't see it working out well. And it's not like he's fighting any old welterweight. It's not like he's fighting Manny Pacquiao, who's past it. It's not like he's fighting even a Keith Thurman coming off injuries. No, he's fighting the biggest, most avoided welterweight out there. So, I mean, no, it's going to end badly, in my opinion. Lewis Hurley, fielding was brave, mate. Leave it out. That's the Sky narrative, isn't it? Oh, he's so brave. Like every single fighter that gets turned over in the States. Oh, he's so brave. But yeah, Fielding was terrible that night. El Nino, could DeGale still beat Fielding? I think he'd still beat Fielding, to be honest, even now. Ripon Road and AA Boxing and Blunts are debating whether Dillian White was right or wrong to turn down shots. Listen, Dillian's had his opportunities. That's all I'll say. What's up, Chase Athletics? How you doing? Yeah, I don't get the fight, Jason Smith. Mikey Garcia, he's got a profile. He's got a decent fan base. He's unbeaten. There's some good fights for him at lightweight or even 140, but he goes up to fight Spence. I just think it's an unwinnable fight. Maybe he's seen something that we've not. Maybe he knows something that we don't. But, you know, I just don't think it's going to work out well. Cop End, I've not seen the fight for quite some time. It wasn't like Mikey was asking to get pulled out, but you could tell he was very relieved. I'll put it that way. I think people, they may over egg it when they say that, but he wasn't comfortable, put it that way. You could tell Salido was getting a foothold in the fight. And if it was allowed to continue, it would have been interesting. It didn't come to its natural conclusion, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Yeah, I agree, Lewis. Eubank would smash Fielding up. Chase Athletics, Darmani Rock. Darmani Rock, I think he's got a lot of talent. He's fairly quick, but, it's his weight. He looks overweight. I'd like to see him lose a bit of weight, improve his strength. The talent is there. I think he's got ability, but, I would like to see him improve his dedication a bit, to be honest. I would like to see him step up soon, actually, Darmani Rock. I want to see some of these US prospects at heavyweight fight each other. Guys like Darmani Rock, Trey Lippe Morrison, Jermaine Franklin. These type of guys fight each other. See what happens. See who comes out on top. Then at least we can know what we have there in these prospects. Chase Athletics, Farmer versus Carroll. I think Farmer wins that fight, probably by decision or late stoppage. Wheels 101. When you get in the second channel going, it's made. I'm just waiting for the right time to put it out there. Jason Smith, money fight or ducking Loma, methinks. That's in regards to Mikey. Yeah, it's a no lose for Mikey, because if he loses, people will say, oh, he was too small. He dared to be great. And then he can move back down to fight Loma. If he fought Loma and lost, there's not really an excuse there. But in the Errol Spence fight, he's got that built-in excuse about he was too small. Lewis Hurley, Mikey versus Loma at lightweight is one of the best fights in boxing. I'd give Mikey a good chance of pulling it off. Mikey hits hard. He's got good timing. He'd have a chance. He'd have a really good chance. Exactly. The Quags has put it. He's described it in a good way. Mikey losing to Spence won't hurt him, but Mikey losing to Loma will. That's how I see it. Tom Dallas is a roofer, isn't he? Boxing brains. Yeah, 54 Trail Swan. Why was Spence versus Garcia ever an option? Does it show Spence's ambitions fighting in such a mismatch when now so many fights at 147? Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, Errol Spence has said all the right things. You know, he's been calling everybody out, but then he takes a fight like this. I mean, if Spence is fighting a Garcia, it should have been Danny, really. You know, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's a good point, Cop End. You know, we say he's got nothing to lose by fighting Errol Spence, but if he gets if he gets beaten up badly, or the muscle gain affects him badly, then yeah, maybe his career could be on the line. It's a good point, actually. I didn't really think of it like that. You know, sometimes one fight where you take a beating or a bad loss, that can affect you for the rest of your career. And like you say, when you lose muscle as well, we saw with Roy Jones, it can affect you negatively. And Mikey, from looking at him in training, Mikey's put on a lot of muscle. He's taking it seriously. He looks in good shape, but I don't think it will help him on fight night, personally. What's happening with Danny Garcia, says Jason Smith. Danny Garcia's fighting Adrian Granados fairly soon, maybe like a month or two's time. Decent comeback fight. Granados comes to fight. He'll let his hands go. He's got good volume. I think that's a decent comeback fight for Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia should win, but Granados, he's not going to lay down for him. Damien Hodgson, Errol Spence should fight Golovkin. I think Spence is too small. Not too small per se. He can probably end up at middleweight in the future, but right now that's a really big jump. I think Errol needs to concentrate on fighting other welterweights like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Porter, Crawford. $54 Trail Swan. Who are the future Hall of Famers out of all of the fighters who are at the end of their careers? Oh, good question. Who's at the end of their careers? Roman Gonzalez. I think he's coming towards the end. He's a Hall of Famer as far as I'm concerned. Would Kovalev get in the Hall of Fame? Has he done enough? Kovalev was what? A former unified champion. He was, I think he's now a 3-time light heavyweight champion. Kovalev's done some good things. Would he make the Hall of Fame? I mean, it depends what your criteria is, really. I mean, if Arturo Gatti is in the Hall of Fame, Kovalev deserves to be in there. I mean, there's a few guys out there who are on the verge. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao, he's coming towards the end of his career. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. The Quags. No drug testing for the Mikey Spence fight. Really? That can't be right. Yeah, Cop Ends, I could see that. I mean, sometimes, Danny's been about for quite some time now. He's been involved in some big fights. Maybe the lesser fights, he just doesn't get up for them. I actually felt Danny looked quite good against Sean Porter. I didn't think he looked bad at all. I felt he lost the fight. I know that fight divides opinion. I felt Sean just about edged it, but I felt Danny looked decent at times. He just never put it together for the whole fight. Rob Brandt versus Jeff Horn. I think Rob beats him. I think Rob Brandt has come on a long way since he lost to Jürgen Brähmer. Rob Brandt, yeah, he's coming off some good form. Amir Khan Hall of Fame. I mean, he's fought some very good names. He actually has some good wins. You know, he's been involved in exciting fights. Amir Khan has a case. I mean, you've. I always go back to Arturo Gatti. I mean, Khan's done more than Gatti. But having said that, if I go by that criteria, then everybody deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Do you know what I mean? 54 Trail Swan. Kovalev is definitely a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Yeah, he's had a good run. MBT Boxing is not happy. Jeff Horn knocks out Brandt inside 96 seconds for Hornet. He's going to do a Mundine job on him. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Sorry, where Jeff Horn goes if he doesn't get that fight. I mean, I would like to see him fight at 154 personally, but Ruben Guerrero, Amir Khan has better wins than Kovalev. Amir Khan's got the win over Maidana. That's a good win. He's got the Alexander win. Collazo win. Khan does have good wins, to be fair. But that's true, actually, Cop End. I mean, Khan's not had a world title fight in 7 years in his natural weight class. The thing is with Jeff Horn, it's like, what does he want to do with his career? Does he want does he want another run at a title, or does he want just like high profile fights? I mean, he was talking about a fight with Tim Tszyu. I know that much. I'm sure that'll be a big fight down under, but I don't think Tim is quite ready yet. Maybe in 12 months' time, that'd be a really good fight. But give him a chance to like develop a bit. Yeah, Chase Athletics. I mentioned that earlier. FA versus Mansour. I think that's a solid step up. Mansour, I think, is past his best now, but Mansour can punch. He's got decent speed for a guy of his age. And yeah, without doubt, it's a step up. Oh, is he not MBT? I thought he would be. I thought Tim would like. I thought he'd just have that built-in fan base, like Eubank Jr. over here. Is Marcus Maidana a potential Hall of Famer? I don't think so. I can see what you mean, Damien, though. I mean, Khan has, he's had a long career. He's fought good names. He's got some good wins. And, lesser fighters are in the Hall of Fame. Ruben Guerrero, Marcus Maidana, first ballot since the AB fight. I mean, that night, do you remember that fight? I remember that happening. I remember Broner losing. And that night on social media was brutal. Absolutely brutal. I've never seen anything like it since. Never. Never at all. AB got absolutely roasted that night. It's crazy. The reaction was crazy. Like, I'm kind of neutral on Adrian Broner, actually. He doesn't really wind me up like he does most people. So I felt the reaction was a bit over the top. But, people were very happy that night. But it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. I always liked Maidana, though. Maidana, when he was active, was my favourite welterweight. So I was happy just because of that. The Quags, Pacquiao hasn't done enough yet. The sad thing is, for Quags, there's people out there who are probably serious about that. Oh, Pacquiao, no doubt, Swan. And I liked Cotto. I found Miguel Cotto towards the end got a bit too much abuse, considering the career he had. I mean, towards the end of his career, a lot of people called him a diva. a lot of people called him a cherry picker. But, he fought a lot of good names. He was involved in a lot of good fights. I'll never forget that Margarito fight, that first fight. Never. That was a tremendous fight. He's got some good wins. He like the Martinez win. Say what you want. It's a good win to have on the resume. He beat Mosley. He beat Judah. He beat Margarito in the rematch. He gave Floyd a tough fight. Cotto was a great fighter. He beat Clottey. Yeah, I liked Cotto. I really did. I know he did get a bit divish towards the end, but I think it was harsh judging him on that personally. Martinez, yeah, he had a hard career to sum up. He was an unknown for a long, long time. He came on the scene fairly late. Had a good run at middleweight, but kind of cashed out when he knew he was injured. It's hard to really sum him up. I mean, in a head-to-head sense, I wouldn't pick Martinez to beat Golovkin at all. I think he would get smashed, to be honest. I think Martinez reigned during a weak era, personally. Yeah, Cotto coming up was a beast. Yeah, I saw that cop end. I've got no interest in seeing Martin Murray fight again. And I like Martin Murray. I think he's a tough guy. He's fought everybody, but that Hassan and Dam fight, it showed he had nothing left, or very little left. Yeah, JT, I agree. If Golovkin loses his next fight, I think that's it. I think for Canelo fights as well, like you say, probably took a lot out of him. And yeah, he's not getting any younger. 54 Trail Swan, who's a bigger Hall of Famer, Pacquiao or Chavez? I think Pacquiao, in all honesty. I know Chavez had that longevity in like one weight class, but to me, Pacquiao has done more overall. Yeah, Margarito. Mosley came out and just ran through him. That was obviously the night where Margarito was accused of using illegal hand wraps, like plaster of Paris. I've never actually researched that case, that plaster of Paris case with Margarito. I've seen some people online say that it was never proven, but I've never taken time to research it. A lot of people out there think Margarito was hard done by, but as soon as he was accused of illegally wrapping his hands and using stuff he shouldn't use, he stopped knocking people out. So I think he was cheating personally, but I need to research it to give a definitive answer. What do you think of the Fury ESPN deal? I think obviously for Tyson Fury it's great, but how good is it for us fans? I mean, hopefully we get the fights, but yeah, I'm a bit concerned with heavyweight, to be honest, in general. 54 Trail Swan. Chavez went like 100-0 at one point. Yeah, he did. I'm pretty sure like Chavez lost an early fight and it was changed, like the result was changed or something like that. Ruben Guerrero, he was a weight bully as well. Imagine getting hit with his wrapped hands. Yeah, he was a big welterweight, a massive welterweight. Yeah, Vince Phillips. He was an underrated fighter, yeah. What are my thoughts on Jamal James and Yordenis Ugas at 147? I like Ugas. I think he's a good boxer. Solid skills, Cuban, decent power. I think he's certainly earned his title shot. I'm pleased to see him getting a big fight because, at welterweight, I think, the division has been guilty of recycling the same names. So I'm glad to see Ugas get his shot. I think he deserves it. I think he's a good fighter. And I think he'll give Sean Porter problems. I think Porter will edge him out. But Ugas, he's a live dog in that fight. As for Jamal James, I think he's a solid fringe contender. Good win over Diego Chavez. He's decent enough, but I don't think he'll do anything at world level. 54 Trail Swan. Oscar De La Hoya is the most underrated, underappreciated Hall of Famer. Oh, sorry, underappreciated Hall of Famer. Yeah, he went through everybody. He fought everybody. Mosley, Ike Quartey, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Trinidad. He fought everybody, so he deserves that credit. Ben Taki. Yeah, Ben Taki. Ben Taki, I swear I saw on BoxRec he was still fighting. Was it Ben Taki I saw? It couldn't have been Ben Taki. Hang on, let's check BoxRec. There's a random fighter from like the early 2000s I found on BoxRec still fighting. Let's have a look. Ben Taki. No, Ben Taki last fought in 2015. Okay, no, it wasn't him. I saw Sam Peter had a fight scheduled on BoxRec. Sorry. Oh, Jesus Christ! I couldn't believe that when I saw that. Sam Peter. Christ. Yeah, I know Cop End. Yeah, I felt De La Hoya beat Trinidad, to be honest. But having said that, De La Hoya arguably had a couple of wins he shouldn't have had. So it swings and roundabouts, really. Marco Rintamaki. One more question. Vladimir Klitschko has made tiny hints about coming back to the ring. Maybe he's just joking. Thoughts on that? I think part of him wants to come back. I think he's probably fighting himself. He wants to come back, but he knows he shouldn't, kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if he's bored in retirement. He's not getting that same rush because Vladimir doesn't need the money. He's minted. He's rich. I'm sure he misses the buzz, to be honest. But yeah, I liked Vladimir, but I don't want to see him come back personally. I think he's done. He's had his career. He had a great career. Just leave it at that. Who wins the World Boxing Super Series at 140 and at cruiserweight? At 140, I'm leaning towards Josh Taylor, but I'm not super confident on that. And at cruiserweight, I am. It's tougher at cruiserweight. At cruiserweight, I'm leaning towards Glowacki. I think Glowacki is going to beat Briedis, and I think he'll beat Tabiti or Dorticos. The cruiserweight World Boxing Super Series can go any way, though. I think all four of those guys still involved can win it. The Quags, I thought Oscar beat Manny. He was incredible. He beat Manny looking like a zombie. He was terrible that night. He was weight drained. Yeah, I think Baranchik is a good fighter, MB. I think Josh Taylor has his hands full. I really do. He can't afford to overlook him. He looks so strong, Baranchik. Have you seen pictures of him? he looks so strong. He looks like a mini Hulk. Yeah, Tim Bradley, I think he has a shout of Hall of Fame. He's beaten a Hall of Famer in Marquez, and he beat Manny Pacquiao. I didn't agree with that decision, but on the resume, he beat Manny Pacquiao. So he's got two Hall of Famers as wins on his resume. Plus, he's got good names like Devin Alexander, Provodnikov, Junior Witter, people like that. Lamont Peterson, I think, as well. Yeah, I think Tim Bradley deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I liked Tim Bradley a lot, though, so I might be a bit biased. Yeah, and MB, I like Tabiti. I think he's a solid fighter. Yeah, Chase Athletics, Baranchik versus Yigit. His eye was terrible. Ruben Guerrero, George Groves, what Hall of Fame? Nah, not for me. Didn't do enough, in my opinion. He was a good fighter in the UK. He actually did a lot for British boxing. He was part of that initial wave that made boxing popular again. But yeah, Groves didn't do enough to get in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. But he did a lot for the sport over here, no doubt about it. And yeah, George Groves, he was a fighter where on the come up, I never really liked him that much. He kind of just rubbed me up the wrong way, but I appreciated him a lot more as his career went on. I really admired his persistence and his desire to win a world title when it didn't work out. He kept on trying, he kept on trying, and eventually he got there. So George Groves originally wasn't a guy I liked, but he won me over, and he done a lot for UK boxing. He really did. Lewis Hurley, is Usyk a Hall of Famer already? Let's say he retired tomorrow. I think you've got to put him in. You've got to put him in the Hall of Fame. What he's done at cruiserweight is remarkable, really. Undisputed champion, and he won every single belt in his opponent's backyard. He beat Glowacki in Poland. Glowacki's not a bum. He's a good fighter. Glowacki beat Marco Huck, who was the joint longest reigning cruiserweight champion. And Usyk went into his backyard and beat him. He beat Briedis in Latvia, another good cruiserweight, strong puncher. Sorry, my voice is going. Yeah, he beat Briedis in Latvia, and then he beat Gassiev in Russia, a Ukrainian going to Russia to beat Gassiev. Really good win, really good win. Yeah, I think Usyk done enough. Taylor will quit against Baranchik. He will walk through him. It will be like DeGale versus Golovkin or something. Can you imagine that? That would be a huge upset or a big shock. I don't think Baranchik winning that fight would be an upset, but him quitting, Taylor quitting, would be a shock. Is Salido and Yamanaka future Hall of Famers? Um, I like Salido. I do. Maybe. And Yamanaka had a good long career. He was a champion for quite some time. But I don't think he'll get recognition from a Western Hall of Fame organization personally. I don't. Yeah, I would like to see Usyk do well at heavyweights because the reason why, he doesn't bring that drama like Wilder, Fury, or Joshua. There's none of that, you know, there's none of that diva stuff. Um, he just comes to fight and that's it. He wants to fight for best and that's it. That's what I want to see, you know? Cop end. Salido had had some brain damage wars. Yeah, I think Salido's in politics. He's involved in politics now at a local level. I'm sure I saw that. Yeah, Yamanaka had a great left hook. Really good fighter, Yamanaka. I enjoyed his fight. I enjoyed his style. But the thing with Yamanaka that kind of really it wasn't to do with Yamanaka, but I hated how he went out. I hated the Lewis Neri fights because Neri he won the first fight, he knocked him out, failed a drug test. In the rematch, Neri missed weight by a lot, and he then knocked out Yamanaka again after missing weight. Uh, that wound me up. That did. Yamanaka didn't deserve to go out like that, as far as I was concerned. But it's boxing. It was a sad way to end a really good career. And Lewis Neri, I rated him highly on the come up. I felt he had a good chance of beating Yamanaka, but yeah, that was horrible to see. Yeah, 54 Trail Swan. That would have been crazy. Yamanaka versus Inoue in Japan. That would have been mad. I'm looking forward to. Could you imagine if Inoue beats Rodriguez, which he should do? Imagine if Donaire beats Tete. Imagine Donaire versus Inoue in Asia. That'd be crazy. That'd be a massive fight in Asia. And by the way, I think Donaire has a good chance against Tete. I really do. I think he's got a good chance. I wasn't impressed with Tete against Aloyan. So yeah, I think Donaire could beat Tete, to be honest. Yeah, Shepherd of Suns. They done the Yamanaka dirty. I agree. Cop End 09, I'm not sold on Michael Conlan. Neither am I. Neither am I. I don't think Adam Booth is the right fit for a start, personally, but there we go. YouTube channel, do you still think Wilder versus AJ is a 50-50 fight after his performance against Fury? I feel different about that fight every day. Like some days I honestly think Joshua would ruin him in like 3 or 4 rounds. But, on another day, if Wilder had Joshua in the same position Vlad did, I think AJ would be in serious trouble. Serious trouble. So yeah, it's a don't blink type fight. If Joshua lands first, I think he'll clean Wilder out. If Wilder lands first, he'll probably clean AJ out. Just one of those fights. Ruben Guerrero, Tete puts Donaire to sleep. I don't think he will. If Tete wins, I think he'll outbox him to a points win. Yeah, Shepherd of Suns, nobody's sold on Conlan. Yeah, Lewis, I don't think Conlan's that exciting. I've been much more impressed with Shakur Stevenson. I think he's a really good prospect. I like what I've seen from Stevenson. What I like about Stevenson, when he turned pro, you could tell he was still like transitioning from that amateur style to the pros. But in the last sort of 2 to 3 fights, you can really tell that he's sitting down on his punches. He's getting stronger. He's improving. I like Stevenson's progress. I think Stevenson's coming on really well. Good prospect. But yeah, I'm not sold on Conlan at all. Yeah, Yuchiyama. He was a good champion. Yeah, Jezreel Corrales knocked him out. Yeah, 54 Trail Swan. Tete is very tall for a bantamweight. I think Tete is I think Tete's 5'9" and really long, tall guy. YouTube channel. What is your most unpopular boxing opinion? Um, my most unpopular boxing opinion. Vladimir Klitschko would have beat Fury in a rematch. I'll get a lot of stick for that one. I've said that a couple of times. And yeah, that's probably my most unpopular one. In hindsight, if that fight went ahead when it was going to, I really do think Vlad would have beat him. 54 Trail Swan. What's your opinion of Ubali? He beat Rashi Warren on the undercard of Broner versus Pacquiao. I liked what I saw. I enjoyed that fight, actually. That was a good fight. I don't think Ubali is much work for Inoue or Tete, but I think he can give guys below that level a lot of problems, and he can get some good wins at bantamweight. Shepherd of Suns, whatever happened to the heavyweight prospect Con Sheenan? I saw something about him the other day. Apparently, Con Sheehan is coming back, and he might fight Ian Turner. No, Sean Turner. Sean Turner. Sorry, not Ian Turner. Sean Turner. Yeah, Con Sheehan versus Sean Turner. That's what I heard. Yeah, I agree. Shepherd of Suns. I think Vlad would have won as well. Yeah, I do chase athletics. I think Billy Joe ducked Andrade. I'm not saying he would have lost to Andrade. I think Andrade is fairly unproven, but I just don't think Billy Joe felt the risk was worth it. And I see it as a duck, especially after all of the trash talk, Billy Joe said Andrade and Hearn stole his belt. If somebody has stolen something from you, you know who stole it from you, you know how to get it back, but you do nothing. That's that's a duck. You're saying all these things. You're saying you've been you had your belt stolen. Do something about it. You know where to go. You know what to do. But no, he turned his back and he went for the easy option. So yeah, I think Billy Joe ducked Andrade personally. Exactly, Ruben Guerrero. He's fighting for a lesser belt. Sorry, yeah, an easier belt in the division up. Hatton, Copend 09. 140 Hatton beats Khan. 147 Khan beats Hatton. I can see that. I think Khan would still struggle with 147 Hatton, but he wasn't the same fighter as he was at 140, no doubt about it. 54 Trail Swan. Who wins between a prime Roman Gonzalez and Naoya Inoue? Ooh, that's a great fight. That would have been absolutely tremendous. I think we've got to go back a few years, though, and recognise what Roman Gonzalez done. He's done a lot more than Inoue. And, Inoue never really seemed that keen on that fight when Gonzalez was at his best or near his best. I'm going to give the benefit of a doubt to Gonzalez and pick him in a really close fight. But Inoue has that power. He could easily win. But out of respect for Gonzalez, I would say him, just because he's done a lot more. And I think he's underappreciated, to be quite honest. MB thinks Khan would have beat Hatton at 140 or 147. Shepherd of Suns, Gonzalez, he's saying Gonzalez beats Inoue. Inoue ducked a whole division. He did. He went from he went from light flyweight, was it flyweight to bantamweight or light flyweight to super flyweight, something like that? And he avoided the whole division. Yeah, he did. Will Joe Joyce ever fight for a title? His ceiling is strong B side. Um, yeah, I think he can. I think he'll fight for a title. Worse fighters than Joe Joyce have fought for a title recently. You know, guys like Spilka, Eric Molina, people like that. I think Joyce can fight for a title. That's true, Copendo9. Joe Cortez, you know, he was very he seemed very caring of Khan in that fight. Put it that way. Ruben Guerrero, Joyce will end up fighting White for the AJ match. I'd love to see it. Lewis Hurley, Inoue's power is scary. It is, you know, different level, especially for those weight classes. You know, you can hear the punches land, you can hear the effect they have. The knockout against Payano was devastating. Devastating. You know, his punch technique is excellent. I mean, the knockout against Payano, when you watch it back, it doesn't look like he loads up that much. It doesn't look like he put that much power into it, but look at the effect. You know? Yeah, the Quags, Inoue coming forward, he is hittable, especially by straight punches. I've seen him eat quite a few jabs. Coming forwards, you know, he may get found out as he moves up, but I don't think that will happen at bantamweight for some reason. I think Rodriguez, if Rodriguez turns up, I think he can give Inoue a tough fight. I think Rodriguez is a really good boxer. Lovely jab, good timing. He's got a lovely. His style is like Kell Brooks in a way, in my opinion. Rodriguez. He's like a more fluid version of Kell Brook. You know, good timing, good straight punches. What's up, Abstract? How you doing? 54 Trail Swan. Who wins between Chocolatito and Caliafy right now? Oh, Gonzalez still. I'd still pick Gonzalez. I think Yafai is a good boxer, but you know, he seems susceptible to pressure. I wasn't impressed with his last fight. Good to hear, Abstract. By the way, in the future, Abstract, I'll say in a few streams' time, I'm going to be looking at kind of inviting people on. So if you're ever free sometime, you'll definitely get an invite, mate. Yeah, I agree, Hashman. I felt he lost his last fight. Yeah, Abstract. I like Tete, but he's had a few questionable performances lately. I know what you mean. You know, he had that Paul Butler knockout, great win, great knockout. He looked amazing that night. But a lot of fights since then, he's kind of like not really gone through the gears like that fight again. He's not really scored devastating knockouts anymore. But but yeah, I know what you mean. Do you mean a moderator? 54 Trail. Yeah, I need a few moderators anyway. To be fair, there you go. Yeah, Hashman. I don't like Matt Macklin at all. I don't like him at all. I don't like Darren Barker either on commentary. I think he's terrible. Yeah, abstract. He knocked out that the other African fighter, Gonya, whatever his name was. Was it Stephen Gonya or something like that? It's like in 13 seconds. He knocked him out. Um, but other than that, there's not really been nothing exciting. You know, he's not really been putting on those great performances. I felt in his last fight he was really, you know, he looked really, really poor. Not really poor, but he looked beatable. Yeah, Cop End, I felt Barker was like a European level fighter. You know, done the basics well, decent straight punches. But yeah, he was a weak world champion. In all honesty, I'll be honest, I think Daniel Geale beat him. I felt Daniel Geale beat Barker. From what I remember, I've not seen the fight since the time, so I could be wrong, but I remember thinking Geale won. Yeah, Geale was never great, but you know, Geale he had a couple of good wins on his resume. He beat Mundine, that's an okay win. He arguably beat Felix Sturm. Or did he beat Felix Sturm? I forget. I forget now. That's so long ago. It feels like yesterday when we was all talking about Barker versus Macklin, Macklin versus Lee, and all of those fights, but they never happened. I'm gonna Google this. Did Daniel Geale beat Sturm? I thought he did. He did, yeah, split decision in Germany. Yeah, I thought my memory was somewhat decent. No, I felt Daniel Geale was decent, to be fair. I felt he was a solid middleweight. Not great or anything, but he was okay. Ah, Lennox Lewis. Roy wasn't prime at heavyweight. Imagine James DeGale on commentary. Yeah. In the press conference before the Eubank fight, you know, the one on Wednesday, James DeGale, you know, he literally sounded like he downed 10 pints before he started speaking, you know? Yeah, Kevin Mitchell was a lot more talented than Darren Barker. A lot more talented. James DeGale's biggest mistake was not coming back to the UK when he won his title because you know he started to get love from UK fans at that point. Um, you know, nobody really liked him on the come up, but you know, he won his title after a fair amount of time in kind of like obscurity. He won his title. He was coming over a lot better. People started to get behind him, but you know, he stayed out in America and never built on that title win. And he never really got the love in this country. But you know, it was what it was. Yeah, I agree. Abstract. I think De Gale's health is. I'd be a bit concerned if I was somebody close to him. Anyway, Ruben Guerrero, Jim McDonnell ruined his career. A lot of people have said De Gale should have left Jim McDonnell, but you know, De Gale, to his credit or to his detriment, he was always very loyal. Chase Athletics, thoughts on Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez. Really good fight. Teofimo obviously has more people excited. He's scoring explosive knockouts. He looks flashy. He looks flamboyant. But I like Devin Haney's mindset. I like how he speaks. He comes across really well. I think he's got his head screwed on right. and he's developing well. I think Haney is a good, well-rounded boxer. Maybe he could stifle Lopez's offense and neutralize his power. I think it's a close fight. I think Lopez might be a bit further ahead, but I think it's a good fight. I think Haney has a good chance, but I might give the edge towards Lopez. But yeah, I do like both guys. Copendo 9, DeGale's biggest mistake was not getting a new trainer after the Groves loss. That was the latest. Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, that would have made sense, Hashman. That would have been a big fight as well. He never capitalized on that title win. Like I said, he never capitalized on that momentum. Yeah, Abstract, I saw that. He said if he lost to Eubank Jr., he'd retire. But boxers, they've got a funny way of deluding themselves. I'm sure James DeGale will go home. He'll say, "Oh, I didn't perform because of this or that or this or that." But he'd be deluding himself. He's clearly not the same fighter. He's clearly not fought. He's not. He's not put a good performance on for a long while now. Yeah, the Quags, I'd agree. I think Lopez is more physically developed than Haney. Lewis Hurley has BG completely packed it in. I don't know. That's for Abstract. I hope not. BG was a great channel. I loved his podcast. Yeah, Hellenius. He's not looked good since that Chisora fight. To be quite honest, hand injuries, promotional issues. Yeah. Who did I remember? Yeah, on the come up, I wouldn't say I was excited by Hellenius, but I felt he was like an interesting prospect. But yeah, since that Chisora fight, he's not looked the same. Good shout, Shepherd of Suns, with DeGale. Very good shout. I've not thought of that actually. It's a really good shout. He's southpaw. He's awkward. He's got decent legs. Yeah, that's the thing, Lewis. DeGale's always been like that. He's always, he's always had a massive ego. And yeah, it could be it could get the better of him because Eubank Jr. Let's be honest, it was a messy fight, but towards the end of that fight, it was starting to look a bit ugly. Imagine if that was Callum Smith in there. What would Callum Smith do to James DeGale? He would knock him clean out. He would put a beating on him. What would David Benavidez do to James DeGale? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's nowhere for DeGale to go. Nowhere. Yeah, Ruben Guerrero. I liked the panel. Irish, BG, Abstract, Jet, Jay, and Sherry. I liked all the guys on that panel. Uh, 54 Trail Swan. Who would have won? Lara versus Andrade? I think Lara. I'll be honest, I know Lara, he gets a lot of criticism, and I can see why he's not everybody's cup of tea, but I've always liked Lara. He's not one of my favourites by any means, but I can watch a Lara fight for the most part. I enjoyed his fights with Varnes. I enjoyed his fight with Hurd. I liked his fight with Canelo. On the come up, Lara was actually scoring a lot of knockouts as well. I think Lara has power. He does have offensive qualities. He's just far too negative at times. But he has ability, and I don't mind Lara personally. And yeah, I think he'd beat Andrade. Yeah, I thought I was the only one, Shepherd of Suns. I don't mind Lara. Like even in the Canelo fight, in the first was it the first 3 rounds, he was really piecing Canelo up. You know, yeah, the 1-2 of Lara, really good combination. Joshua Clottey back on March the 8th. That's a blast from the past. Yes, Lara does have power. Neither am I abstract. I'm not sold on Andrade. Joshua Clottey was supposed to fight Canelo years ago, maybe like 4 years ago. And since then, I've not really heard much. Didn't Clottey lose to Gabriel Rosado as well recently? If Andrade beats Golovkin, I'd actually give Andrade a lot of credit, in all honesty, because regardless, even if Golovkin is past his best, he's still a really good fighter. He's still world level. He still ran Canelo really close. If Andrade beat Golovkin, I'd give him credit. Yeah, Cole Kai, he made Andrade look a bit made him look ordinary. And Kulkai wasn't doing anything outstanding. He was just he had a high guard. He came forward, applied pressure, and Andrade never really had an answer for it. Andrade won the fight. Don't get me wrong, but he looked a bit vulnerable that night. Having said that, Andrade did go abroad in Germany to take that fight, and when you're fighting abroad, it's a different it's a different atmosphere. It's a different look. So maybe that threw Andrade off. I don't know. Yeah, the Quags, I kind of agree. He is untested. He's hard to kind of gauge. Yeah, I mean, like the Calton Dokwa fight, there was moments in that fight when when he opened up, his hand speed looked mesmerizing. He looked really good. But at the same time, sometimes you kind of want him to go through the gears and get his opponents out of there. You want to see him show a bit more, and he doesn't. Um, but yeah, he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking to see a bit more. That's all. Like for Charlo's, Boo Boo will get found out. That's Ruben Guerrero's opinion. Maybe I could see it. I mean, middleweight's a strong division. He's got to fight somebody soon. He's had a couple of like good comeback fights. He fought Kalton Dokwa. He fought Akavov. He needed to get active again. Fair enough. Now, from this point, I want to see him fight somebody decent. Maybe if Selecki beats Rosado, there's an opponent. Selecki. Selecki versus Andrade. Let's get it on. I think that's a good fight for Andrade. Selecki is one of those guys. The only thing with Selecki, to casual fans, people are going to say, "Oh, who's Selecki? Selecki's a bum." But hardcore fans know better. Selecki's a good fighter, and I think that would be a good fight for Andrade. That's the thing, Hashman. In 2014, Andrade, he was in a good spot. He obviously won the title. He beat Brian Rose. He ruined him. I remember that fight. That was a mismatch. Smashed him up, and after that, he never really went anywhere. Yeah, I know, Hashman. He's fighting Rosado fairly soon. And if Selecki wins that fight, I think Selecki's a good opponent for Andrade. From what Eddie Hearn said, Andrade would be back in June. I think Selecki would take that fight. I think Curtis Stevens has fought at light heavyweight. I'm sure Curtis Stevens has fought at 175. Yeah, Copend, I've seen Linus. I think he's quite decent, actually. I've not seen Jordan Reynolds, though. Oh, I think Andrade would just about outpoint Selecki, but it's a tough fight. Yeah, I think the Walter fight, his first fight back for quite some time, I just think he was rusty. He certainly looked better in the Yakovov fight. In the Yakovov fight, I would have just liked to have seen him go through the gears quicker. That's all. Yeah, Brandon Rios is shot to bits. I don't know whether I mentioned this on an earlier stream, but um, I found an interview on YouTube of Brandon Rios from like 2010 maybe, and his speech has really deteriorated in that time. And against Soto, he looked shot to bits. When you're getting stopped by Tim Bradley, probably time to call it a day. He should, yeah, that's when he should have retired after the Bradley fight. I don't know, abstract. Billy Joe right now, it's just hard to get behind him. It's hard to get excited. I mean, I rate him. I rate his ability, but if you're not fighting anybody, it's hard to get behind him. MBT Brandon Rios versus Victor Ortiz still needs marinating. Yep, it like what was a fight? Oh, what was a fight that Bob Arum always said needed to be marinated? Oh my god, it's annoying. That's going to come back to me soon. Oh, Juanma versus who was it? Juanma Lopez versus somebody. Oh, for Christ's sake. It's gone. It's going to come back to me later. Juanma versus Gamboa. That's it. I think that was it. Yeah, Juanma versus Gamboa. Just like that fight. Levi Khan, Chisora versus Tony Thompson in next April. Next April, sorry. That can't be. Tony Thompson's retired, isn't he? Hashman Boxing, Adonis Stevenson versus Sergey Kovalev in 2014. Who wins that? That's a great question. Really good question. I don't think it's the fight people think it is. A lot of people out there think Kovalev just walks through Stevenson. I don't see that happening. It's kind of a who lands first type fight. I don't think either guy have tremendous chins. I'm trying to think back what I thought at the time. I would lean towards Kovalev. I think Kovalev is he's a better technician. I think Kovalev, you know, his all-round ability, his all-round skills are better, but I wouldn't put money on it. MB Stevenson is going to fight again. No, he's not going to fight again. Can't wait to see Samuel Peter back in action. He got robbed the last time out by Pulev. The shot I worry about for Kovalev in the Stevenson fight would be the straight left of the body by Stevenson. That's a great punch. Okay, speaking of light heavyweights, Ruben Guerrero, that's savage. Right, light heavyweight. Who comes out on top in the light heavyweight division? Bivol, Vodzik, Kovalev, Beterbiev, or Marcus Brown? Who comes out on top? I'll be honest, I know Stevenson, he fought terrible competition. I get that. But I do think he was... I do genuinely see him as a wasted talent. I think Stevenson, at his best, could have beat anybody in the light heavyweight division when he was active, in his prime. But, you know, he never took those fights, or they never happened. So... a lot of people saying Bivol. That's my pick as well, by the way, Bivol. Abstract, Vodzik or Bivol. Chase Athletics, Beterbiev. Shepherd of Sons, Vodzik. Yeah, I agree with Quags, you know. Straight left of the body, straight left of the head, pouring jab. But in his prime, he was just a lot quicker with it. You know, a lot quicker feet, quicker hands, good timing as well, actually, underrated timing. Hashman says Vodzik is chinny but a great fighter. I'm not sure on Vodzik's chin now because he got dropped by Karpency, but then he took some big shots off Stevenson and took them quite well. Lewis Hurley, Stevenson would have starched Froch if they fought, maybe. But maybe Stevenson's power at 168 wasn't as good, who knows? Right, lads, I think I'm going to call it a night. Got an early start in the morning, unfortunately. But thanks for everyone turning out. Like I said, we'll make this a more regular occurrence. Thank you, guys.